Hello, this is Pixel Freak back again for the Final Fantasy Dimensions walkthrough, part 16. So I guess I'm saying walkthrough playthrough now. So it's not just walkthrough, it's actually walkthrough playthrough. So at this point in time, I've done a little bit of job grinding. You can see all my characters have nice new shiny jobs on them, and they've done a lot of level grinding too, and I mentioned that in the last video, so you should do that in between that video and this video. Spend a little time out there in the field grinding up. I think I cleaned that boat out too without showing that off, so horrible me. That boat may have had some treasures in it. If that's the case, go back and fetch them. It shouldn't be that complicated in walking through it. Can't believe I skipped that part. But anyways, with the money that you make out in the field here grinding up, you're going to want to buy all this lovely equipment that you see me purchasing and equipping at this time, which I probably should have already purchased and equipped while I was grinding to help my grinding, but I didn't, and now you get to watch me do it. Also, in this video, I didn't cut out any of the fights because this is a relatively short area, dungeon, mountain, tower place. It's only about a 12-minute video. I start with the mountain, end with the mountain. Yeah, so it's about a 10-minute dungeon. I guess, yeah, about 10 minutes. If you cut out the time I spent here buying all my crap, and then the video is a total of 12 minutes long, so about 10 minutes. So we are off. You can see I probably already went the wrong way once. So if you haven't leveled up and you're coming in here for the first time and you're looking at these enemies are relatively buff. In comparison to your team, considering this team's been way left back because Soul's team was the one you've been leveling up forever and ever and ever, these guys are pretty wiener. Pretty wiener. So, also, it's kind of funny that you buy all the gear at the Moogle on your way into the dungeon. I do believe there's some duplicates that can be had inside. I'm not sure what they are exactly. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, worst case scenario, you're only going to waste a couple hundred gold. It's not worth the time just to figure it out. Just buy what you want out of the item shop. Items, armors, and weapons. And then just go through the dungeon. I also believe, too, this Dungeon Mountain has no boss. There is no boss in this one. It's just a straight collect the treasure and walk out. It's always funny though when you get all the level 2, I guess it's actually level 3 black magic. The level 3 black magic on Soul's team, that makes you very powerful. And so you're kind of feeling pretty awesome when you do that last dragon tower with Soul's team. And then you get to this team and it's like, oh yeah, I get to use Fire 1 again. That's fun. So all your casters are quite gimped. And you don't have your level 3 magic anymore. All those strong spells are all gone. Your really deep mana pools are all gone. My Aura Blast is gone. I just feel real sad right now. It's just really sad. Megalodoth. Those guys, I think, are on Final Fantasy VI. Maybe that's Megalodons. Something like that. They look very similar to an enemy that was in Final Fantasy VI towards the beginning of the game, when you have Loki and all the Moogles. Even if it is the same enemy though, those Megalodoths, they're not the same sprite. That's something I thought was pretty cool about this game is that even though there's a lot of sprites that look very similar to old games, I don't think they reused any of the sprites. Maybe the jellies. Maybe with the jellies they recycled it and spruced it up a little bit. They still look a little different. But you can tell there's inspiration from the old games, which is really great. You get that inspiration because it even kind of feels like an old game even more because of that inspiration. But they're not the same sprites. I very clearly remember the old sprites, and they weren't the same. And these wild rats too. They might be a used sprite. They're from Final Fantasy VI as well, or something very similar to them is in Final Fantasy VI. I was recently playing the Final Fantasy IV remake on the PSP, which was what do they call it? The Complete Collection, I think, which was Final Fantasy IV, an interlude, and the After Years, all in one game. But I really liked the way they did that game. It was like over-stylized 16-bit. I never actually finished that version. That's the only version of Final Fantasy IV that I didn't actually finish. I quit halfway in because I had put my PSP down for Android, actually. That's when I started playing Android games, which at the time were vastly inferior. The Android games were nothing compared to the PSP. I would say now we're just getting to the point where we're rivaling what's on the PSP, and we're still behind, PlayStation 2. We're still behind PlayStation Vita. We're a ways behind PlayStation Vita, but I think we're another year or two, and mobile hardware will have caught up to that. Where those devices are. I actually watched the PlayStation 4 reveal. That was today. So if you want to date this video came out on the same day, February 20th. That's the recording date of this. The day the PlayStation 4 had its big reveal. And personally, I was impressed. The games, I think, they didn't look as much better as I would hope, but I think that graphical improvements in games oftentimes, not oftentimes, I think it's kind of this, it's a thing where improvements, horsepower, even though it's doubling, the improvement for what we see doesn't double. I think that the improvements, the things like shadow and dynamic lighting and things like that, they're not changing at a pace fast enough for us to notice that much of a difference anymore. But I do think, and so for that reason, when you watch the videos of the games, you're like, oh, well, that's better than my PlayStation 3 and my Xbox 360. But is it that much better, really? I mean, I can tell that it's better, but is it $400 plus games better? So I think the real place where they can make some good strides is especially artificial intelligence. Particularly, I should say, not especially. I remember playing Fear. This is 2007, quite a few years back now. And I played that on my PC, and the artificial intelligence in that game, just the way the AI was programmed to react, blew my mind. And what's really interesting is I still haven't seen anything to that level done on either the Xbox or the PlayStation 3. Things like an enemy would see me and then he'd run back to go get reinforcements, which that alone is pretty awesome. He's going back to get reinforcements. Well, then I'd set some proximity mines up and then I'd go hide in another room. The enemies would run back and I'd, let's say, be standing in a doorway. Well, they wouldn't see me because I was in their kind of peripheral vision, not moving. They'd run right by me, go right up to the proximity mines and explode. And I just thought it was so fascinating that they had this social nature, for one, a memory is point two. They knew exactly where I was and they kind of surrounded that area and then kind of flanked it. But also that everything was based on vision. And when I was kind of sitting off to their side and not moving, they couldn't see me. So I thought that was really awesome. And I haven't seen anything like that in the PS3 or the Xbox. And I think it might just be because their CPUs couldn't handle that level of AI. I'm assuming. I don't know why else they wouldn't do it. I'm hoping to see more things like that, more kinds of complex calculations that you really have only seen on PC come to the PS3 and the 360. I guess come to the PS4 and whatever Microsoft unveils. But anyways, yeah, it was a pretty exciting thing. I like what they're doing with a lot of the connectivity. I think that a lot of the social gaming aspects of the PlayStation 4 are done wrong. I think that they're wrong to connect you to Facebook, because I feel like Facebook is the place where I go to share family stuff. You know, that's my more ubiquitous, public-facing version of myself. I don't want my PlayStation stuff up all over Facebook just because that's my social world. Most of the people that I have on my Facebook are not the people that I play games with. I have other social networks that I use for people that I play games with. And for that reason, I'd like them to just invent something else. I don't care if you were to have another social network that only interacted with my PS3, but I think that part of the reason they want to use Facebook is because they want to use it as not only a service to customers, but they want to use it as an advertising platform as well, which I think is the wrong way to go about it. My grandma doesn't want to buy a PlayStation 4. The people that I'm friends with on Facebook don't want to buy a PlayStation 4. And I think it'd be much more useful to me to have a social network embedded into PlayStation 3, one that I could access from the web as well, or my mobile device. You know, I could talk to all my friends all the time, everywhere. Or at least a way to keep it very separate on Facebook. I think that would be very important. So that part, I'm a little bit less enthusiastic about. The new controller, I'm not super enthusiastic about. I kind of like that there's a nice lip on the analog sticks. It'll give a better grip there. The touchpad, I'm interested to see how they use that. I'm glad they didn't play that up like they did the 6-axis controls. Because with the 6-axis controls, that was the thing that was just doomed to fall on its face. I knew that would be utilized. It was too French. It was too niche. Way too niche. And I kind of think that the touchpad thing probably will end up being that way too. It'll just be something nice that the developers have to use if they'd like to use it. So if a good revolutionary new control comes out for it, great. If not, who cares? It was just kind of thrown on there. Probably cost them next to nothing to put on there. But we'll see. I'm sure a lot more details will come out soon. The console, from what I understand, is going to come out at the end of the year. I'm interested in getting one, but I want to see what Microsoft comes out with too. I'm gonna play the two against each other and buy one of them at launch, and then the other one I'll probably pick up after the first price drop. Makes the most sense to do it that way. Most of the games are going to be cross-platform anyways. I'm a big Gears of War fan, so it'd be nice to have the Xbox, because I'm sure there's going to be some Gears games come out for it. But aside from that, I'm not a big Halo fan. So Microsoft doesn't really appeal as much to me. And I do like Uncharted, and I do like Infamous quite a bit. Killzone's okay. Not super into Killzone, but I think Sony's done better, especially in the later half of this generation with the exclusives, which has been really nice. So, I try not to get attached too much to one platform or the other. Alright, so this video is about wrapping up. I hope you've enjoyed Chris's talk on PlayStation 3. Most of this stuff really didn't have a whole lot going on in it anyways, so I'll just take the time to do commentary on whatever's going on in gaming. Anyways, that'll wrap this one up. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, this has been Pixel Freak.